Here we go. All right, another one for the day. Thanks for being with us, Jim at Lab Coat Agents here. And can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, because this is the first time that we're meeting just a few minutes ago.
Yep.
And I don't know much about you except for a topic, which is 1,000 true fans. And we're talking about your sphere of influence, and the strategies that you've seen other people do and that you've seen yourself implement that have worked, right?
Yes.
So welcome, and tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here. First time on the live program, so love that.
Yeah, you just did a podcast with us last week or two, but thank you for that.
Absolutely. So my background real quick, like an elevator speech version, 30 years in the business. Don't hold that against me. I'm still active.
Too late.
I run a company that's a Real Trends Top 500 company. So we are in the top 500 companies in America, but we're in a rural area. So we are in a population base of 80,000 people. So we're competing against people, companies in LA and New York and Chicago, but we're still one of the top 500 companies in America.
No way.
Yeah. So we just got our numbers back. We did $919 million last year on 2,500 transactions closed. So we did that with 160 fantastic brokers that I work with, and I'm very fortunate to lead that company.
Can you tell us the structure of that before we get in, so I understand that?
Sure. So we have three offices, and the 160 agents are broken up into those three offices. I'm the lead broker. We have 4 managing brokers though, and 18 full-time staff people. So in Oregon, everybody's a broker. When I say brokers, 160 brokers, that's agents. We have supervising brokers. I'm one of those. I'm the lead supervising broker. So that's our company, and that's what we're doing right now. So, it's exciting times.
Dude, I love that. And then you said you have 18 staff?
18 staff members, yeah. So one of our claims to fame on, one of our recruiting techniques and strategies is to really provide unparalleled service to our agents. And we've really pioneered some really great things for our team. I was the first in our area, and I think the state, to create a position called a technologist. And I think it's a made-up term that maybe I made up. I don't know.
I like that.
A technologist is someone that is in our office that's doing nothing all day, every day, but helping agents with real estate technology. So our business is becoming so tech heavy that I think agents get kind of lost in the weeds with it. They get confused, and the confused mind says no. You just shut down and you just don't do any of it. So we have somebody there. It doesn't cost them anything. It's all free. They can go in and just get coaching. They can get help. So it really helps. And it became so popular, we added another one. We have 2 full-time technologists now.
All right. So can you, before we start into this sphere of influence strategies, can you tell me what the technologist usually does? Like, what's the one question that comes up over and over and over again?
There's a lot, but the number one thing that we are working with agents on today, which we're going to actually talk a little bit about in this class, is getting their CRM and dialed in. CRM and getting their sphere of influence and their database dialed in, so that people at the very least are on a drip system. So they're getting touched, multiple times, at least once or twice a month. But I would say even with our high level producing agents, we have one of the highest level producing agents in the country. Our average production level per agent is $6 million. We've got people doing 60, we got people doing 50, we got people doing 40 in a small town, but still, they are still struggling with CRM and getting their database in order. So that's the number one thing. Second to that, these guys are trained in website design and helping people, really dial in their websites and their social media strategies. That would be second.
That's such a smart thing that you did, man, because what happens is now your output per agent is going to be much higher, because a lot of the reasons that agents don't succeed is because they don't pay attention to their CRM. And if I've got an agent that's sucking at tech and can't even put in their sphere or touch on their past clients, you just solved for that.
Yeah, exactly. You got to solve it for them, because even with the best of intentions, a lot of people that just don't have the knowledge of how to do it will just kind of fall by the wayside. And they could be great salespeople, but they just don't have the technological skills.
Dude, I've done a lot of interviews, and let me tell you, I've never heard that before.
Really? Wow.
The closest,
Check the box.
dude, you just got that. The
Yeah,
closest
nice.
thing I could think of is Keller Williams as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Per region, they have like a regional tech trainer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the closest thing I could think of, but it's not what you guys do, which is
not what we do.
that's the only thing I could think of, which is not even close. But
It's not even close. Yeah.
so you get a gold star, dude. That's freaking awesome. I love that. All right, so
Thank you.
you're a coach as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Sir. Yep.
And so let's get right into it, man. Tell us what you've seen works and these strategies, because this is what we need as agents.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, why do I call it this is a class. I'm actually teaching it tomorrow in Merced. I'm going to be doing, after this interview, I'm driving 6 hours to Merced, California to teach it. So if any of your students are in Merced, I'll hook them up and they can come see the live class too. But the title of this came from an article that I read in Wired magazine. I know a lot of people read Wired magazine, but the editor of Wired magazine came up with this 1,000 True Fans article. And what he meant by that was, any artist, whether you're a musician, an artist, a writer, anybody, if they have 1,000 true fans, they can make a living in their industry. They don't have to be like, Bon Jovi to make a living. They have to be just 1,000 true fans, the people that'll buy the cups, the shirts, that'll go to the concerts, that will buy the tickets, and they'll keep coming back to every show after show after show. And then that just resonated with me so much when I applied that to the real estate industry and what we do as an industry. Because even a lot of the top teams, I coach a lot of teams across the country, a lot of top teams are in this trap of chasing new business and really paying a ton of money for online lead gen and Zillow and Realtor.com, and they just kind of ignore the oil well that's sitting in their front lawn, which is their database. All these people that know, like, and trust them. And you'd be surprised at how many of these people are not focused on that at all. Instead, they're going after all this new business and they're ignoring their current customer base. So it became really a passion of mine to say, hey guys, you got to wake up. This is crazy. It costs 7 times more to develop a new client into somebody who buys something than to just work with the people that are already in your sphere of influence. 7 times. So you want to, it's crazy town. The other thing, I'm just going to take a little side note here for those agents, and it takes me a while to convince even my top teams that I'm coaching about Zillow and Realtor.com, because there's been an addiction to this over the last 5 years.
100%.
And now that addiction is coming to an end, and what's happened is the lead bomb already went off. Realtor and Zillow have already pivoted, and when people don't even realize they pivoted, they've now gone away from selling leads because they know that's a cliff that everybody's already driven over and everybody figured it out. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to start doing referral based. So Realtor.com's already done it. Zillow just announced it at convention that they're going to now charge 35% referrals instead of selling leads.
Yep.
So you say, if you're a top agent and you say, geez, 30, 40, 50% of my business is Zillow generated or Realtor.com generated, and now that's going to convert to 35% referrals. If they choose me as an agent, a lot of times they're not going to get chosen as the agent. But that's the starting point. Where it's going to end is 40%, 45%, 50%. It's just going to get deeper and deeper into your pocket. And the biggest thing about that is you have lost control of your business. You're not in control of your lead gen. You're not running your business. You're just becoming an employee of Zillow or Realtor.com. I'm passionate about this, as you can tell. It's just crazy town. So what we have to do is we got to step back and say, I have to, as a business owner, take control of my business, and the best way I can do that is to leverage my sphere of influence and dig into my database. Digging into your database is what every Fortune 500 company does. They require their salespeople to run from CRM. They require them to use Salesforce and all kinds of different CRM platforms out there on a big way. So my passion is to help agents understand how they go about this and what kind of is the process. Because again, people, even top agents, get lost in the weeds here. Like, what do I do? I was just coaching a guy yesterday, and he said, Jim, I got 3,700 people in my database. And I said, you got 3,700 people in your database? That's incredible, buddy. Congratulations. Yeah. And then we dug into it a little bit more, and he had, of those 3,700 people, about 100 of them were true sphere of influence people. The rest was a database of just people that he had collected from farming campaigns. It wasn't a sphere of influence. So what we have to do is we have to define what it is, right? People that know, like, and trust you, obviously. And then we've got to get real about it and start building it out with CRM. So the first thing everybody listening to this has to do is they have to invest in CRM. I mean, there's no other way to manage your business than with CRM. The second thing you have to do is you have to measure what I call as your power base. And your power base is an interesting number because I guarantee you when I talk to most agents, they're like, what the heck's a power base? I've never heard of the term power base before. Yeah. No one's trained me in this, what you're calling a power base. What does this mean? Yeah, so here's what a power base is. Let's say you have, I'm just going to give you some round numbers. If you had 232 people in your database, let's just say as a number, right? Okay. And you had closed, let's say, 22 transactions out of that database, okay? You take your, yeah, that would be good, right? So 22 divided into 232 gives you your power base number, which is 10.5, by the way. So 232 divided by 2022, the number of transactions you closed, gives you 10.5. What that means is that for every 10.5 people in your database, you're closing one transaction. The average for the country is 10. So for every 10 people in your database, you average one closed transaction.
Dude, so that's, I don't know, you know, I always don't believe in, I do believe in things don't happen by chance, but I was just talking to a whole group of people this morning about this exact thing. Mm-hmm. And I love that. So they're going to be re-listening and be like, wow, Jim's right on.
Perfect.
But this is exactly what I was saying. I was like, that's the number I use. So I love that you reiterated that. So
perfect. But what's interesting is a lot of people just use the 10 number. Like the 10 is the national standard. Everybody's been taught that. You talk to Buffini and Ninja and all these people. It's 10 to 1 ratio.
They all do say that.
It's all 10 to 1. But that's not actually accurate on a per agent basis. You have to understand what your number is. You may be way worse than that. Or you may be way better than that. I just coached a gal named Sky Flora, did $10.5 million last year. And she has a 125 person database. So her power base number is like 7.5. She's getting one transaction out of every 7.5 people.
That's beautiful.
See, now, here's the beauty of it. Here's how we start to analyze our business. We understand our power base and we work from that number for goal setting. Let me give you an example. Yeah. If this same agent says, hey, Jim, I want to close 30 transactions instead of the 22 I closed last year. I want to go to 30, buddy. And I say, okay, first step, we got to look at what your current database is. We know it's 232. Let's look at your power base. It's 10.5. So in order for you to get to 30 transactions, it's simple math. 30 times 10.5 is 315 people in your database. Right now you got 232. You got a gap. You got to get to 315, and you got to have a great system in place for contacting them and being in front of them and being, you know, top of mind with these people. So that's his gap. Here's what happens. I'll tell you a lot of times. I just started coaching this gal out in Anaheim, California. Okay. And she said, Jim, and this is so true from so many agents, I've been range bound my whole career. I bounced around at, 15 transactions one year, 18, 20, 15, 18, 20. And I've done everything. I've done FSBOs and expires, and I bought leads, and I've done this. And sometimes I'll have a good year, and then another time I'll have a bad year. I said, what's the size of your database? The size of our database is 200 people. I said, your business will never change until you fundamentally understand that most of your business is coming from your sphere. So if you really want to get to 30 or 40 or 50 transactions, that means you've got to grow the engine in your car. It's the engine under the hood that's driving your business. All these other things can give you one-off success, but to get really to having a bigger business, you've got to have the bigger engine. And the engine overall is your sphere.
So what you're saying, it's repeated throughout a lot of these bestsellers that we get to read, and I love that you're applying this to real estate, because Seth Godin says the same thing. Look, find your tribe, right?
Find your tribe, yeah. Find your tribe.
Your tribe can be as little as 500 people.
500 people is great. It's a big number.
Right? It's a massive number.
It's a big number.
If you're doing it right.
Right.
So Jim, we figured out this power base. We got the multiplier.
Got the multiplier.
We know how many people we need. Let's stick with the 500 number. It's a little higher, right? But let's say you've got 500 people. Now, the question that I have is, what do you suggest that we communicate with them like? Like, what value do we give them? How often should we do it? What's that process look like for you?
So it's a great question, and that's the ultimate test of whether you're really running your database. It's one thing to have a list of people, but what are you doing with the list?
Yeah.
Right? So you've got to actually have a plan in place. And what I recommend to all agents is they whiteboard it. So you can go to Staples, you can go to Office Max, and you can buy a big 12-month calendar and put it behind your desk. Now, yes, you can do this with technology, but technology is something you can hide from too. You can minimize it, you can turn off the alarm, and you can be like, I'm not going to do that. But if it's sitting in front of you all the time, you're going to face it. So,
So
yeah,
true.
visual cues are important. So it used to be said in the old days when I first got into business that we had to be in contact with our sphere 9 to 12 times a year. That's not true anymore. The new standard is 21 to 50 times a year in order to break through the communication jungle. So the question is, how am I going to touch my database 21 to 50 times a year without being completely annoying?
That's the key, dude. I don't want to spam people.
You don't want to spam people. People don't want you to spam them either.
Oh.
So, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a bunch of ways. Okay. So, and then people can use it like a cafeteria. They can use what they want and don't use what they don't want. So, one idea, first of all, is you've got to differentiate who's in your database. And you got to look at your database as a ladder. There's C's, we've all heard this, that are acquaintances, people you've met on this, at open houses, you've touched in some way, but they know, like, and trust you. They're your C group.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't done business with you, haven't referred you. That's your C's. Your B's are people that have done business with you. Your A's are people that are referring to you. Those would be your raving fans. So based on that, we treat those three categories a little bit differently. I'm going to tell you the kind of the base standard that I train to with my own crew. So that is that your entire database, all people should be contacted physically by you twice a year, minimum. So that's a physical phone call to everyone, which means you have to be committed to being on the phone and grinding every day. And this isn't, people get excited about sphere of influence marketing, but then they quickly fade. So what they have to do is say, I got to put as Gary Vee says, put your head in the clouds and your nose in the dirt. You got to get down and dirty, and you got to be making the calls to every single person in your database. And there's some great times to do it. Right now in January is one of the best times in the world to do it. I'm going to give you a great script for it.
Sure.
Here's a great script for calling everybody in your database, which I call it the aspirational script. The aspirational script is this. If I'm calling you, Tristan, I'll say, hey, the reason I wanted to just touch base with everybody, all my friends and people that I know, and just check in with you, say how your new year went and what you guys do. Do you guys do anything fun? And let's role play this for a second. Do you guys do anything fun? Yeah.
Let's see. New Year's. I don't remember. It was too long ago. No. I'll just say no. Oh, we made tamales. We made tamales.
Tamales. I love tamales.
Tamales. The whole family got together and we did that. So that was fun.
Is that an annual tradition?
Yeah, we usually do it like December 31st at night.
That's funny because I have some other friends that actually do the same exact thing. That's so cool. The whole family gets together and does it? And you make hundreds and hundreds of them?
Yeah, and then it just gets messy and the kids get into it, and then they make like chocolate tamales and it gets
is there tequila involved in those tamale making sessions?
Not yet.
So my family and I'll tell you, we just went to Mount Bachelor. So I do a boys trip every year. So it was me and my 4 teenage boys. We got up there and the hot water tank was broken on the house that we rented. So
damn, dude.
So 4 days, 5 guys being 4 teenagers in a house, skiing all day, sweating all day. So the hot tub got destroyed, buddy. Hot tub got destroyed. So, wow. Hey, I'm asking everybody this because I'm curious. You helped me last year. You sent me a referral, buddy, and I really appreciate it. It really made a difference to my bottom line. And I just want to thank you for it, number one. But I'm asking everybody something kind of fun this year. I'm asking you, what's on your horizon for you in 2020? What's your big goal for 2020, personally and professionally?
Personally, just want to make sure I have the right environment for my kids, right? Yeah. So that they can continue to grow mentally, physically, emotionally, all those.
That's a great goal.
Yeah, that's on my goal. And then business-wise, just to be able to create better human beings from the agents that I have so that they can work on their mind first and then their business. Those are the 2 goals.
Love it. So you guys got any trips planned or anything going on?
We're going to Spain.
Spain.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We're going to
Nice.
Spain March 26th, 27th. We got invited to speak out in Spain. So that's
Love it. So, okay. Now that's our aspirational conversation. Did that feel salesy at all to you?
no, it felt like you were just asking a question because you can.
I'm having a friendly conversation.
Yeah.
And then you might reciprocate by saying, what's your big goal? Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Okay. If you do, I'll say, oh, my big goal, I've set for myself is selling 50 homes this year. It's a big goal for me. I sold 35 last year. So, keep me in mind if you hear anybody, that's thinking about doing some real estate business. Always never too busy for your referral. Love your referral, of course. If they don't ask it, I might volunteer it. I might say, hey, my big goal is this. But never just say the professional. Always give them a personal and professional goal of yours, because you don't want to look like you're all business. You actually want to give them a personal goal. But here's the power of it. So you got their aspirational goal from them. I know you're going to Spain now.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is, because I always have my CRM open when I'm talking to people, because I'm a good salesperson and that's what good salespeople do. Yep. I'm going to make a note now. Tristan's going to Spain. I might dig in a little bit deeper and go, when are you going to Spain? Just so I know the date. Yep. And now I'm going to flag you for next contact. This is a key that everybody should write down. Every time you're talking to anyone, you're flagging them for next contact. Yeah. Essential, because what happens is they are in your top of mind, but then you forget the conversation really rapidly, and because you're so busy and moving on to other things. So you got to flag for next contact, whether that's a week from now, a month from now, 2 months from now, whatever. For you, I know that you're interested in going to Spain. I'm going to flag it to talk to you a week after you back from Spain. Definitely, you're going to get a call from me. But between now and you going to Spain, I know one of your aspirational goals. I know two of your aspirational goals. One is to help your kids grow into being great adults, and another one is to go to Spain. Another one is to help agents. So I can then create a Google alert just for you. And my Google alert is free to set up. I can set up as many people as I want. And I'm going to set up Spain for you, because I know you're going to Spain. Mm-hmm. And if I get something cool about Spain emailed to me from Google, I'm going to send it on to you. And I'm going to say, buddy, Tristan, I just found this thing happening in Spain when you're there, man. You got to check this out. Tell me what do you think of this? This looks really cool, right? So what I'm doing is if you can imagine, most of the relationships you have right now are very surfacey. They're not very deep. I want to go deep with all my clients.
Well, it makes sense, man, because you have a set amount. You're not, excuse my language, but you're not whoring yourself out to like
10,000 people.
Exactly. It's just a core group of really people that love you and know you and can grow with you, and you're doing it right. I mean, geez, I've never actually added that extra step for that Google alert. I always tell my agents, hey, look, you have to set a task once you're done, because most people don't. And you have to set the task to call them when your normal call time is. You can't just be like, hey, task to call them at 5, and you don't call at that time.
Yeah.
So set it so that when it's yours, you make sure that you're calling at that time too. And Absolutely. One thing that you said that it reminded me of something you said, something about preparing. And there's an article that I read about a week ago or a few days ago, and it was about setting up your right environment for success. And they were mentioning how chefs, so professional chefs, they call it mise en place, where they set up their environment as a chef before they start cooking, so that they have the right ingredients, the right knives, the right everything, so that they have the exact, they know that they're going to succeed in what they're doing. They have everything there.
Love it.
And I thought when you were saying that, I'm like, dude, that's exactly what we need to do as agents, which is you need to set yourself up for success from the very beginning. Your phone, your laptop, you've got your other screen open for notes, your notepad, like as you're talking, I'm taking notes, right?
Right.
Everything that you need to succeed when you're talking to your clients, right? And a lot of us are just like, oh, it's time to call. And they're just like, and that's all they're doing. So that's just what you said reminded me of all of that. So good job, dude.
Thank you. So one of the other things that you'll find with an agent that you're like tuning back into this and like, oh yes, you're absolutely right, man. I got to get on this. And they start doing it, right? They start getting into it. They'll look at their database and they'll be like, I don't remember that person, or I don't actually remember. And this old school of thought was you have A's, B's, C's, and D's were the people you're so uncomfortable calling, you should delete them from your list. But that's not true. What you should do is you should call them. And I actually had one of my agents, Robin Simpson, who's a top agent for my company, teach a class on this. And she killed it in the class because what she did is she said, I'm going to do it right now live in front of the audience. And she found somebody in her phone and she goes, I don't recognize this person. I'm going to call him anyway. And she did it live in the class.
Wow.
Pretty great, right? So she calls them and she goes, and here's the script. And we could all learn from this. She goes, hey, this is Robin Simpson. You're a contact in my phone. I'm a realtor over at John L. Scott Real Estate. I'm just trying to connect how we know each other, because I don't want to just delete you out of here because maybe we know each other and I kind of misplaced it. The guy says, oh yeah, Robin, I've done some work for you as a handyman. In fact, I've got somebody that's thinking about selling something. And boom. And he live in the class, just pulled it out. So that's like a resurrection call or a ghost call. We have so many. If you're doing this right now in this time of year, when you're in January, if you go through your phone, I had an agent do this yesterday. I was talking to him and I said, how many people in your database? He says 500. I go, how many people are on your phone? He said 1,500. I said, you got 1,500 people in your phone? I said, what's the disconnect? Why aren't they in your database? Goes,
Exactly.
well, I don't know why. I don't know who all these people are. I said, well, you got to get on the phone and ask them who they are because they know you probably. They'll remember you, right? Yeah. And the same thing is true with social media. When you talk to people about social media and you go through your friends list or your followers list, I'd say 85% of those people, 90%, 95% you don't know.
Correct.
Right? And so that's another, instead of calling, you can do a direct message. Hey, I'm just going through my friends list, just trying to put together the connection that I have with you. How do we know each other again? And you just resurrect the conversation, right? So that's a fun thing to do that a lot of people don't do. And it can really make a difference. Something else I'm recommending that people do right now is the home valuation call. It could be an email, it could be a text, or it could be a social media post actually. And the home valuation conversation kind of goes like this. I say, I call you and I say, hey, Tristan, I'm doing something fun this year for my clients. Just giving everybody an updated value of their home. I know you're probably not interested in selling. That's not the purpose. It's just to kind of keep you up to speed on what's happening home value wise. A lot of people use it for estate planning, insurance purposes, and just to kind of for financial, having your financial house in order. Mm-hmm. I can email it over to you. It doesn't have to be anything super in depth, but would you like a copy of it? Everybody's going to say yes to it. And then I'm going to email it over to them. So it's a value added, call, and I'm sending it over to them or over to you. But when I send it over, I say, by the way, do you know anybody else that would like to get a home value? Because I'd love to help them, especially if they're thinking about selling, I'd love to give them an update as well. This is a ninja technique that's worked really well for a lot of my agents. But check this out. Here's another way to do this, which is different, is at your closing table this year. Every time you're closing a transaction, I'm going to set the stage for this. And I'm going to say, so Tristan, what I do every year on your home anniversary, because I'm going to record it in my CRM because I'm running CRM now, is I'm going to send you a copy of your updated home value, so you can see how much money you're making every year on owning this property. So it'll be really fun for you. If you ever decide to sell, of course, you got to call me.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're setting yourself up too for accountability.
Exactly. So home valuations, I think, are a great connection point too. But kind of getting to an overall, what I call the communication matrix. We talked about 2 calls a year to your entire database. With your A's and B's, that's more like once a quarter. It's 4 times minimum, sometimes more with your A clients.
Did you say 4 times a year? Is that what you're...
4 times a year for your A's and B's. People that have done direct business, and A's are, people that are referring you business. And people say, Jim, what could you possibly be talking to these people about? And I'll give you a classic example of that. And it could be a contact in the email, could be a text, could be a social media direct message. But I'll give you an example. If I reach out to you and I say, hey, Tristan, I trust your judgment. You bought a house for me last year. I'm doing a new marketing flyer or postcard, or I've done a new website, or I'm doing a new social media post. I really want to get another pair of eyes, and then they feel like they got an ego stroke because you trust them enough to get their opinion. Once they give you their opinion and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I like it or I don't like it, I'll say, great, man, thanks for checking it out. Anything I can do for you? What's going on with you? And it just opens up conversation. Right?
Yeah.
But the cool thing about that is once you've given me your advice at any level, you now own a little part of my success, and you are like the master and I'm the Padawan. You're the Jedi master. I'm the learner, right? And so you buy into my success, and you're going to be much more apt to refer me just because you're a part of my guiding factor, right? And people love to be the expert, and so it's always a fun thing, especially older people. I found older people love to be put in that position of, hey, I'm going to tell you what to do, even if you don't follow their advice. You're asking their opinion.
Yeah, that's very true, man. You're right about that. Very right. So tell me why I would be focused on, well, I'll rephrase the question. Tell me why I shouldn't be just focused on my A clients. Why not make 500 a database of just pure 500 A clients?
It's impossible to do it because not everybody's going to be referring to you. And it's like a sales funnel. In the sense that you're going to be putting people into your sphere that you come into contact with through other marketing. Mm-hmm. And those people are just going to either A, progress to be clients, or B, progress to be referral people that send you referrals, but not everybody's going to get there. So it's like a client development. And I look at it like a bench. You can't have a bench in football, baseball, whatever your game is, of all stars. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. you got starters, and you got special teams, and you got, there's just a whole group of people there. And that's what makes a great team. You're developing the team over time, right? So you have to have this whole mix of people. And here's what I tell new agents, because new agents will come to me and say, Jim, I don't have anybody in my sphere. What am I supposed to do? I understand what you're saying, and I buy into that, and it makes total sense. Or I just moved into a new town. It's a classic one I get too. Yeah. So my answer is, I always say, it's just like you just got your medical license, right? So you graduated medical school. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to be an intern at a hospital. Yeah. And you're going to work 80, 90 hours a week. You're going to sleep in the hospital. And then what's going to happen is after 2 or 3 years, you're going to graduate to owning your own practice. And then you're going to be referral based. So for the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to have to train you how to go out and prospect and lead generate in other ways. But you're filling your funnel. You're filling your database, your C group, and you're going to hopefully move those to Bs and then move those to As through contact. Another thing that agents miss in terms of creating those 21 to 50 contacts a year is social media. So you have to friend everybody. So everybody you're coming in contact with, you need to ask the question, hey, do you mind if I reach out to you through social? They're going to say yes. You say, great, I'll do that. Because once they've connected with me on social, they're going to see me posting, and this is something I recommend 3 to 5 times a week, something out there. And that's another touch point. It doesn't replace human contact, but it is another touch point for sure.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think there was one person that we had in lab codes at doing the same thing here. They said that they farm their social media database. I was like, that's such a smart idea. You could just do that all day.
Yeah, man, that's easy thing to do, right?
Yeah. So I see what you're saying.
I think that's great.
That's good, dude. All right. So power-based multiplier, then you whiteboard this out. So you've got your raving fans, right? You would call them the A's and possibly some of the B's maybe. And then you've got the rest of your database, which you touch on 2 times a year, right?
Well, your physical phone call twice a year.
So if they're not there, you leave a voicemail or no?
Leave a voicemail, but that doesn't count as a contact. You've got to get to them physically. So yeah, that doesn't count.
If they don't pick up and I text them and they respond back, does that count?
A text counts. Okay. Yeah, if you got a response. Yeah. That's a great question. Another touch point is physical mail. So physical mail can be broken down into bulk mail and personal mail. So if you look at bulk mail, your entire database should be getting a piece of bulk mail from you 4 times a year, once a quarter. So
entire database.
And I'll tell you what the number one thing I think that works the best for that, people say, what should I send? It's either going to be market statistics, or an even better one is going to be a postcard every quarter that shows your success. And what that means is that it shows a picture. The front picture is going to be sold, 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 pended, 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 listed, 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 so that it shows like, oh man, this agent is killing it, man. They are just all over it. Because what happens is people don't know how successful you are unless you tell them. And it kind of unlocks their thought process about referring you. Some people in your database will have what I call referral resistance. Referral resistance, they do. They have actual referral resistance. So they'll be like, I know I'm gonna like him, but I don't know how successful he is, really. I don't want to trust my mom to this guy. I don't know if he's selling anything. You know, I like the guy, but that doesn't mean I'm going to refer my best friend to him. So then by sending them proof of success, it's like proof of life. You're like, yeah, man, I'm doing it. This is happening, right? Social media, you can do that as well, but those mailings are really, really powerful. Another thing to do I get agents sometimes that say, Jim, I want to raise my price point. And I coach people on raising their price point all the time. Mm-hmm. Anytime you get a listing that's above your normal listing price, mm-hmm. You know, if you're at 300,000, you get one for 450 or 5 or 6. The best thing you can do is to get a really professionally put together brochure, whether it's a 2-page, 3-page, 4-page, whatever, really nice brochure. Okay. And instead of, you know, wasting it with a just listed campaign around the house, you send it to your own database. And the reason why you send it to your own database is you want them to know that you're selling these higher end properties and they should be referring you these higher end properties. Super powerful technique. I've seen that work really well over the years.
Got it. All right. So just so to bring everybody up to speed here that joined a little late, when you're talking about database, you're not talking about all your thousands of people on there, right?
No. Okay. Just your sphere.
Yeah, because I've got 69,000 people in my database.
That won't work for you. Yeah.
I don't think I can make it past a month if you want me to do that.
No.
So sure. What you're saying is your database, what you're calling a database, are those people that you can touch often, that will communicate with you, that know you, that learn to trust you and like you, right? So it's your A, B's, and C's is what you're talking about?
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
And I think that's a really good distinction, because what happens is people do get confused on that, and they're just kind of lost on that. And it really, it's defined by, if you saw these people in a grocery store, would they know who you are? You know, or if you call them on the phone, would they recognize who you are? If the answer is no, then maybe they're not a C, because they're not really an acquaintance. You know, they're not really that level of acquaintance, because we get a lot of things from, you know, a Zillow lead, for instance, is not a C to me. They could develop into a C, you know, if we get into a good conversation, I show them some houses, you know, definitely could get there, but it's not necessarily automatically, you know, a part of my sphere of influence.
You know, if you haven't already, you and I should create a distinction between a database and whatever the other thing is. Right?
right. Your sphere. I think it's your sphere, right?
Yeah.
It's
well,
the people that.
Yeah, I guess so. Then you would break down your sphere into your A, B's, and C's, right? That would be your sphere versus a database. I think too often we just don't understand the true definition of what a database is then. Right?
I think that would be called, and what I call that is a farming database. A farming database could be demographic or geographic. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's what I would call a farming database in my mind.
That could be a whole nother webinar, dude.
It could, for real. Let me give you another quick technique, though, because I know we don't have a ton of time, but is a closed Facebook group for your database, which is a fun thing to do as well. And you're reaching out to those people, and you're you know, giving them some special value there, maybe doing some how-to, some evergreen videos there, you know, sending out links from there. It can be very, very effective to do that. And I've seen agents do that very successfully.
Yeah, I love that idea. Yeah, definitely. So you can get some great culture going on there.
Exactly. Yeah, a great tribe. When you said the word tribe, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Something else that I just think no one does and they should be doing is they should be doing client appreciation parties, mixers for their A's and B's. And I have an agent, I always talk about this gal because I just love this idea so much. She does something she calls blend. Janet McNown, she's out in Bend, Oregon, great agent. So what she does is she has her database, her A's, right? And every month she does an event called Blend, which is a mixer. But at the event, she says it's a mandatory +1. You have to bring somebody that I don't know.
Oh.
So check this out. So you want to talk about a way to grow your database? This is such a beautiful idea. So she then buys everyone drinks, like 1 or 2 drinks, buys appetizers. She's not buying a full meal, right? It's just like appetizers and drinks, like a mixer. And then these people that come, she gets to meet, and they get she'll create a connection. And her database keeps growing and growing and growing. Imagine adding 30 or 40 people every single month to your database. I mean, you want to talk about a Zillow killer? That's it.
Yeah, man, I love that.
And the cool thing about that is those people are in the same socioeconomic group as the people that are in your A database, because friends always go, they like other people like them.
I love that. That's a really good. I just wrote that one down too, dude.
That's good.
I really love that one. All right, so I'm going to go back to the mailers here.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned with our database, you would mail to your A's and your B's 4 times a year as well, or just your A's?
A's and B's for sure.
All right, and then you're mentioning that you would mail to them stats of where you are, what you've done, meaning where you are as in like as a business, right? What you've done. I would do
overall market stats. So market stats meaning the entire market, statistics for the market. Okay. And then I would do a postcard that shows off what you've sold, pictures of each property, pending, sold, listed, that kind of thing. That shows and demonstrates your success.
All right. And then it would be like a 1-page or fold out or trifold out. I've seen that.
Or a postcard. I mean, we fit a lot onto a postcard, a jumbo size postcard. A lot of people do it that way. Inexpensive, easy to do. So something to think about. Depends on how much you're selling.
Yeah, that's true. You could always use the office's listings too.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, you can. You can rely on that for sure. For sure.
Definitely do that, dude. I love that. So just going through my notes, see if I'm missing anything. You said something that made me think about treating my database like its own social media platform, which I thought, I could definitely do that, because we go on social and we post. Some of us post daily, other ones don't post often. But if you would treat it, for those of you that do well on social media, if you would treat your database like a place where you can routinely touch them, kind of like you do with social, it could really work well.
Absolutely. Another great idea in terms of developing the relationships with people, because that's what you got to look at, is how am I deepening these relationships? How am I making these things bigger and better? One way is through connection. So if you can be the connector, and I learned this from a gal named Barbara Allen, who was a Coldwell Banker owner, and she was a fantastic broker for years, icon in the industry. And she invited me to a party at her house, and the party was really just her introducing people to each other that didn't know each other. And it was a really interesting thing. But she did it on a big scale like that, like a big party, but she also did it on a small scale. So imagine I call you and say, Tristan, there's somebody that I really think you should meet, because I think they can help you with your business, or help you with, they just got back from Spain. They probably give you a lot of good tips, man, or whatever, whatever connection point I can find. I'll say, would you be open to having coffee, and I can make a quick introduction? You're going to say yes. And now I'm the hero because I'm putting you two together, but it's also deepening my relationship and my value between you and I, because I've done something for you. I've done something special. It's a great way when you're dealing with entrepreneurs, salespeople, business owners, is to do that, to connect business owners together. And the other big thing with that group of people, because your database has lots of different people in it, but with entrepreneurs, business people, and salespeople, one of my best calls to make is when I call you, I say, Tristan, I feel guilty I didn't send you as many referrals as I really wanted to last year. I want to send you more referrals this year. That's my goal, my personal goal. And I'd love to get together for, lunch, grab some more cards from you. You tell me what's new and exciting in your business, because I want to tell everybody I know about it. Also, I'm going to do an endorsement letter to my database. If you're cool with it, let everybody know what you're doing. I can't do that with everybody, but if it's a really good business, I'll do it. Or I could flip it and I'd say, I'm going to do something special next week. I'm going to do some endorsements on social. I'd love to have your business be one of those companies that I endorse. And that's another way to make connection and add value to the relationship.
Dude, I love that. And what you're doing with this is what you learned from that Coldwell Banker real estate agent.
Yeah,
It's kind of like you're making your own chamber of commerce.
absolutely. Exactly. Right.
That's pretty powerful.
It's good stuff. Yeah,
And you
for
could do
sure.
that quarterly or twice a year. That's pretty awesome, dude. Well, anything you want to add to what you've already said here, which is quite a lot, and people are, by the way, uh, it's really nice. So you are a coach as well,
Yes.
and you don't just coach in Oregon.
No, I coach nationwide. Actually, I have some people internationally, but nationwide for sure.
All right, perfect. And how do we find you online, man, if we want to search you?
Yeah, so if you go to erealestatecoach.com, that's E like an elephant, erealestatecoach.com, you can find me there. We've got a coaching platform called The Path Performance Coaching. So you can think of it kind of like the Netflix of coaching. So you go on, there's hundreds of videos you can watch, lead generation, sphere, open house, FSBOs, expires, you name it, it's there. And as you watch a video, the cool thing is that if I'm talking about a script, we've talked a lot about all kinds of scripts today, you can actually download it instantaneously. So it's like plug and play. You can adapt it to your market because it's all in a native format. It's in Word or PowerPoint or however it is, Excel spreadsheets, all kinds of things. And then we do, on top of that, we do live coaching every Monday through a closed Facebook group to our members. So very affordable works for a lot of agents that don't want to spend the hundreds or thousands of dollars on coaching, but they want some good quality coaching. It's there for them. 14 days free if they hop on and try it out.
I love it, dude. And just so I can repeat it, did you say e-real estate coach or e-real estate coaching?
No, erealestatecoach.
Coach.com.
Yeah.
Coach. And then the other one was The Path. Can you repeat that one?
Yeah, that's The Path Performance Coaching. That's what you get when you go in there if you want to sign up for coaching. There's a lot of free content in there too, but if you want the coaching, it's in there.
All right, just had to write those down.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, you gave me a lot to write down, Jim, and a lot of people really loved what you were talking about here. We'd love to have you back on. So
love it, man. Anytime.
We can do this later in the year again.
For sure.
And if I'm down in Oregon, I do know.
Come on down. No, I'm in Medford and Ashland, so just over that California border.
Got it. Oh, you're close. You're close. Yeah. I like. Well, not really, but you're close.
Yeah, sort of close.
Well, thanks for being on, man. I appreciate it. And for everybody here, remember to go to erealestatecoach.com. Thanks again.
Sir. Thank you.